الناس الحرام. الزور, July 13th, 2012. شيخ ياسين, شارع العام. This is the result of Asad regime bombing of Sheikh Yassin Deir الزور. This road is no longer passable. This is where the bomb landed, or one of the bombs landed. There's just utter destruction everywhere you go. Abandoned markets. Streets cluttered with trash. If you hear closely in the background, you hear the sound of Asad regime forces firing on civilians or Free Syrian Army posts. Free Syrian Army members continue to resist. And protect the civilians that remain in the city. They do their best with what they have. But to fight back against tanks, it's quite tough. When you don't have the equipment necessary. As far as you walk down this street, there's just destruction. This is the result of tens and tens of 130mm rounds being fired from tanks that were parked at the end of this street. And various rockets, missiles, and bombs that were launched from the mountain that looks over the entire city of Deir ez-Zor onto the city. For more than 19-20 days. And this is just one street in Deir ez-Zor, Syria. More destruction. Homes and businesses destroyed. This is a mosque that has been fired on from a tank that was parked at the end of this alley directly onto this mosque.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
This is the reason why the people, the civilians, have left Deir ez-Zor to other cities. Because the Asad regime continues to bomb them and terrorize them in their homes. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Just a few people left in here.
Entire business melted. Everywhere you look, there's destruction. Nothing is left unmaimed. The few people that are left in the city have nowhere else to go, have no stores to buy food or goods from. No place is left undamaged or unharmed. Many neighborhoods are left without electricity as a result of random shelling and bombing. We have even witnessed targeted shootings at electricity towers and electricity wires.
Into houses.
This is a civilian home.
Another one here.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. complete destruction. They say that there are armed terrorist groups, but the only armed terrorist groups that I have seen are of the Asad regime. They've cleared out a complete floor of this home. It is now here on the street, close to the bridge, where you cross the Euphrates River. It's complete destruction by the terrorist regime led by Bashar al-Assad. The Syrian people need your help. The people in الزور need your help. They're depending only on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they ask you only to give them their rights. Abandoned streets, abandoned homes. This is where a Hound bomb has landed. You can see what it does to the cement, and you can imagine what it would do to human flesh. There's an overturned car and a burnt house, a charred house, charred home, an overturned car. This is the result of shelling from Asad regime tanks. 130mm rounds being fired on civilians, civilian homes, civilian properties, charred homes. Firing into civilian homes by the Asad regime. It's a daily occurrence here in الزور. Government workers who usually pick up the trash have not been working lately for the past month, I know for sure. So these people are saying that a Hound bomb has fallen here, but in the area of الزور called عرضي, it did not explode. We don't know exactly where it is right now. It probably went into the home. This is a daily occurrence here in الزور. The terrorist Asad regime continues to terrorize civilians. Civilians continue to to worry. They're in constant despair. They're unsure. They're unsure of when the next bomb is going to hit.
This is one of them.
This is one of the bombs. These civilians have brought.
Allahu Akbar.
حطها على الأرض. حطها على الأرض.
Allahu Akbar. Heavy bombs.
من وين اجت هاي؟
من الجبل.
وين نزلت؟
نزلت على سطوح البناية وما فجرت، فجرت اثنين والثالثة ما فجرت.
This was fired from the mountain, the Deir el-Zor mountain, and it fell onto the roof of his home, and it didn't explode.
Allahu Akbar.
This is what the Asad regime is firing onto civilians and civilian property. The young man who brought it out was not more than 15 years old.
July 13th, don't forget.
July 13th, 2012, Deir el-Zor, Syria. This is another charred vehicle in the middle of two civilian homes, buildings. It's another charred home.
Burned home.
It's burnt to a crisp.
Look at the glass here.
Bullet holes in civilian homes, broken glass.
This is because of the pieces from the bomb.
Shrapnel from the Howan bombs fall into the cement, break huge chunks out of the cement. Imagine what it would do to human flesh. This is what's left of a civilian home after bombing, random shelling by the Asad regime. شو صار؟
غيبة. لحظة طلعت لحظة نجيب زوم مع الزوم. هاي بآخر البيت.
Oh yeah. At the top floor of this home,
This is the doors from
this is the door. This is the door that was eliminated. 5 to 6 foot high opening in the top floor of this building, 5 to 6 feet wide. This is the doing of the terrorist Asad regime, terrorizing civilians, terrorizing civilians.
We're gonna show you what did the bomb in the building.
They're going to take us up into the building and show us what the bomb did as it entered the building. This is the bomb that didn't explode. هاي القذيفة اللي ما انفجرت، ما هيك؟
ايه هاي نزلت علينا الصبحية. نزلت 4.
اليوم الصبح؟
ايه. 3 انفجرت واحدة ما انفجرت.
Three bombs fell on their home this morning, July 13th, 2012. 3 of them exploded, and the one we saw is the one that didn't explode.
صور برج المقابر لحظة المفروض.
This is the doing of the terrorist Assad regime, bombing civilian homes and civilian property.
You can see this hole.
Everywhere you look, there's the result of Assad terrorist regime bombing on Deir el-Zor, Syria. It's from the mountain. It's from the mountain in the distance where they launched these bombs onto the civilians.
هذا الدمار هاي إصلاحاتك يا بشار الأسد.
Everywhere you look, there's not a building, there's not a building, there's not a home, there's not a wall that isn't affected. Everywhere you look.
You can see this mountain. This is from where the bomb blast.
You see the mountaintop in the distance? This is where they launched the bombs from, where they launched their attack onto civilians in Deir el-Zor, Syria from. The terrorist Assad regime continues to terrorize civilians in Deir el-Zor, Syria. July 13th, 2012. And this is only one small portion of Deir el-Zor. And Deir el-Zor is one small city in all of Syria. Bashar al-Assad continues to murder civilians all across Syria. This neighborhood is called Al-Ardi. There are very few families left. This is the 5th day without electricity. This is more than 20 days of battle between the Assad forces and the Free Syrian Army. Majority of the civilians in the city have left to other cities. And the Assad regime continues to terrorize the population that remains. Majority or all of the civilians have very much trouble finding bread and basic food items. Electricity has been cut off for 5 days in this neighborhood. This store was opened and items were taken by the army when they came into the neighborhood. These are the reforms that Bashar al-Assad promised. This is the terrorism. This is the terrorism that everybody keeps talking about. The terrorist regime of Bashar al-Assad in Deir el-Zor, Syria, terrorizing civilians, shooting homes, destroying civilian property, cutting off the electricity. This is why this neighborhood has not had electricity for 5 days. High or low, the civilians are not safe from Assad regime terrorism. Everything you see, holes in the walls or bullet holes, or the result of shrapnel from bombs falling on civilian homes and civilian property. Nothing you have seen belongs to the Free Syrian Army or houses Free Syrian Army members. The Assad regime bombs randomly any and all property in their way. As you can tell, There is hardly any activity in Deir ez-Zor, Syria. Most of the people have left in search of a safe place. This is another civilian home that has been hit with a bomb on the roof. A large portion of the home has been destroyed and is missing. It now lies here on the ground in the street. This is a rug from inside the home. This is the real terrorism. These are the reforms that Bashar al-Assad promised the people of Syria.
See this
Wa alaykum as-salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.